Okay, and here we are on the second video for this quick office building. How about now, let's add some, dismiss that, let's add some windows. We're going to add some windows over here, here, and then in each of the offices. So let's go to the level 1 floor plan. I'm going to turn my thin lines off so I can see my line weights. Now might be a good time to go ahead and save the project. It already has been saved initially, but I just want to save it again. Another thing you can do is just click Control S. That all will save the project immediately to our initial location where we saved it. Okay, so let's add a window into each of these rooms. So I'm going to go to Architecture, Window. Now I'm going to hit the type selector. We get a bunch of different windows. I want to put in some nice big long ones. I'm going to do these 36 by 72. Okay, 36 wide, 72 tall. I'm going to click that one. I'm just going to hover over the wall. Now it's asking me, do I want the glass to be set in or out, or how do I want to do it? So if you move your mouse around, you'll get a feel for that. I'm going to have them set in. So I'm just going to place it right here. I'm going to place one right there. I'm going to place one right here, right there, here, and here. So they're all in weird locations. I can go to my 3D view and just rotate around to see what happened. There's those adorable little windows. Okay. Now I could click on one of the windows here and let's look at the properties in the properties palette. This is telling me what type it is. The sill height's at 1 foot. Why don't I change that to 2 feet? Notice the head height went up to 8 feet then. So the whole window just moved up a little bit. So I want all my walls to be that. So I'm just going to go ahead and select all of the walls that, aside from the first one, and change their sill height to 2 feet. And hit apply, or just wait, it'll do it, or just wait. And there it is. So that looks good. So now let's go back to the level 1 floor plan. Now maybe you decide you want the glass to be on the outside so you have a nice big sill for people to sit on the inside. You can go ahead and select the window and just hit that arrow button. I'll do the same on this one. So I want this to move down, and I want these windows to sort of be mirrored about this. So I'm going to select this window and position it just like we did the door. So maybe, oops, I didn't want to hit that. Maybe I'll have these 1 foot from the wall. So let's move this one to the inside edge. I'll do 1 foot there. That looks good. I like how those windows look. In fact, I might just grab these windows, delete them, just by selecting and deleting, and then I'm going to copy these ones over much like I did the doors. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn on thin lines again so I can see what's going on. Sometimes the line weights get in the way. I'm going to select those 2 windows. I'm going to hit copy. I'll grab this inside corner here, and I'm just going to go to there. Copy again, and I'll go to there. There we go. So we've got our windows in, we've got our doors. Now I'll leave it to you to add whatever windows you want over here, along the front, and over here. The technique is exactly the same. You can do whatever type of window you want. Now when I click on window, these are just the windows that are loaded into here. So these are window families. We can always go and get more windows from different websites and different families, and we can load them into our project, which we'll do at another time. Okay, so this floor plan's really starting to come together. If I go to the 3D view, I can see my windows, I can see my doors. Okay, so let's add a roof And then let's add some room names, and then we'll pretty much call it a day on this. So I want to add a roof that's going to live. Ooh, I'm still on window. You can see that. So I'm going to hit escape. That. So I am going to put a roof that lives on the inside edge of my exterior wall and is down a little bit from the exterior wall. So how could I do that? Let's figure this out. So I'm going to go to my roof plan. So I've been primarily working in level 1. Let's go to the roof. Okay, so here's the roof. Now, one thing I'm not seeing are all of my grid lines, so I want to fix that first. And you'll notice that the building itself is sort of a shade of gray. That's because we're not cut through anything. On level 1, we're cut through to make a nice floor plan. We're cut through our building. On the roof plan, we are kind of floating above our building, looking down. So this actually makes sense. I'm seeing the walls. I'm not seeing the doors or windows because those are below this sort of surface right here. This is the top of the wall. So why am I not seeing the grid lines? This is some of those weird glitches about Revit. I'm going to go ahead and right click on this grid line. And I want to click Maximize 3D Extents. No, that's not what I want. Let's do click it again and do Reset 3D Extents. Or right click on this one, Reset 3D Extents. Okay, I'm still not seeing them. Let's go to level 1. I'm going to click A, Reset 3D Extents, B, Reset 3D Extents. Now let's check the roof plan. Still not there. Let's try Maximize 3D Extents and Maximize. Let's see if we got it now. Bingo, there it is. So now we can see those grid lines just like we're seeing the grid lines in level 1. Why it's just not on there, I couldn't quite tell you. So we make roofs exactly the same way we made the floor. We need to create a boundary of what that roof is. So I'm going to go up to Architecture, Roof, and we can use Basic Roof Generic 12. That's fine. It's asking me to make that boundary line, so I'm going to go ahead and select my rectangle. And I'm just going to start in this corner and go all the way down to this corner. Okay. Now, one thing different about roofs is that its default is it wants to slope that roof. And I can tell that this roof will be sloped because I'm seeing this little symbol up here on each side. Before we hit the green check, let's go ahead and hit the Modify button. And let's select each of those lines that we just drew. So I'm holding down Control and clicking all those lines. Then in the options bar, let's just uncheck Define Slope. That means we want this to be a flat roof. And then click the green check. Okay, now let's go to the 3D view and see what happened. Okay, so it made our roof. It made our roof exactly on the roof level, but it built it 1 foot up. I wanted to build it on the roof level, but go 1 foot down. Okay, so I'm going to select the roof. Now, for base offset from level, instead of 0, let's do -1 foot. So this is in the properties palette here. And you can hit apply or just wait. And you'll notice that my roof went down. In addition, now I can also see my interior walls are going up, crashing into the roof, and sort of overlapping with the roof by 1 foot because my roof went down 1 foot. So we want to move these walls down, the top of these walls down 1 foot. So I'm going to go ahead and select any one of these walls. I'm going to right click and say, select all instances visible in view. Well, there they all are. Okay, let's go up to the properties palette with them all selected. And right over here, it's saying this these walls are going from level 1 up to the roof. Top offset is set to 0. Let's click in there and let's type in -1 foot and hit apply. There we go. Now those walls are going up to the underside of the roof and they're not crashing into it. So this looks pretty good. Now the other thing I want to do is select all my exterior walls and have them come up at least a foot. All right, so I'm going to hover over this wall here. Now here's a little trick. I'm going to hit tab and it will select the chain of walls, the chain of similar walls. So it selected all the exterior walls because they're the same wall. So all I did was, let's do that again. I'm going to hover over. My hand is not on the mouse right now. I hit tab. Those are all the walls I want. Now I'm just going to go ahead and left click. So now all those walls are selected. I'm going to go up to its top offset and I'm going to say, instead of a minus anything, I'm going to say 1 foot. So it goes above. Hit apply. Now I can see that that wall is slightly up from the roof. So that looks good. In architecture, we call this situation right here where the wall pokes above the roof a parapet. So maybe you've seen somebody walking on a roof, but you don't see like their feet or their legs because they're typically behind a ledge or a parapet. It's as if that exterior wall just goes up and goes past the roof, which it technically does. Okay, so we got a roof on here. Let's rotate around. All right, I mean, this is just a really beautiful building coming together here. So you might see your own windows added in here, and you can add those as you see fit. Okay, let's go to the level 1 plan. Okay, this didn't really change because adding the roof doesn't matter for the floor plan because it's sort of above the cut line and we can't see it. Okay, so let's add some room names and let's make this floor plan look a lot better. So now we're just working in this specific view, and this is what you'll submit, this specific view for your assignment. So let's go up to architecture, room in the area, and click room. I'm going to click that. Now I'm just going to hover over this first room and just click. Hover over and try to align it nice. Click. 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 And click. Oop, I want to make this a room too, so I'm going to go into architecture room and just put this one somewhere in the middle. Okay, so let's go to this first room. Let's select that tag. I'm just selecting the word room. Now let's look over in properties. I'm going to just hit the little type selector here. Let's do room tag with area. Let's tell me how big that room is. And let's click on it again. And let's double, and then, well, let me do that again. Let's click on room and then click on room again. And let's change its name to office. And click in space, click in space. Let's do the exact same thing to all these. So I'm going to go ahead and click. Actually, I'm going to select the next 3. I'm going to change theirs tag to a room tag with area. And I'm going to double click on room here. I'm going to just type in office. Double click on room here, type in office, and type in office. I'll grab these 2, do room tag with area. Double click on that. I'll call this one restroom. Double click, restroom. I'll grab this tag, do the same, area, pretty big space here. We'll call this one open office. There we go. So that's looking pretty good. We got room labels listed. We have this bigger room label listed. Now we can move these tags anywhere we want around that room. Whatever looks best graphically and is the most clear. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Looks like I might want to try to center this one a little more. being a little goofy, but that looks good. Okay, so let's add some more dimensions. So we have these equal dimensions here. Let's go up to Annotate, Aligned, and let's go from our grid line here down to middle of the wall. Well, let's see. If I hit Tab, I can do middle, exterior, interior of that wall. I'm going to do the exterior side of that wall, and I'm going to put a dimension string right here. Okay. I'll leave that. That looks good. So that's defining where this wall is. These walls are all defined by equal, so that looks good. I'm going to put a dimension string from this column line or grid line to this grid line so we know how big that is. So I'm going to just, you can kind of feel it snap in place here, which is nice because if you had another dimension string, it'll do it at the same distance from the previous one, which is nice. Do the same thing over here, A to B. There we go. So this is 60 by 100. If you're feeling so inclined, you could maybe dimension the wall edge here to the wall, which is 1 foot. There it is. Now I could grab this little, that's not what I want to, see if I can move this around. Do that. There we go. I just want to pull this down so we can get something like that. So I'll do that one again. So I'm going to go Annotate, Aligned. I'm going to turn off Thin Lines. I want to go from this wall edge. So this is the edge of the wall. This is sort of the edge of the window frame. This wall edge to, if I hit Tab here, the inner edge of this wall, I'm going to align it to this dimension string. And then I'm going to grab that little dot in the middle and pull this guy down. Maybe I'll put it up here. So that looks like a nice, that's to let me know where these windows are. I'm not going to dimension these because these are all the same. So this looks like a really nice floor plan. And we're just about done with it. I just want to do a couple more things. I'm going to turn Thin Lines off again so I can see my line weights. Okay. I want to center this in the view. So there's some other things in the view here. I'm just going to make a selection around this elevation marker, and I just want to move it over. Maybe this one, I'm going to move that over. And I want to zoom in on just my floor plan here and kind of get this centered nicely in my window here. That looks good. Don't worry about how big or small it. I mean, try to have it fill your window, but you don't want to do too much or too little. If it's too much, some parts of the geometry will get cut off. If it's too little, it just looks too small. Okay, that looks good there. I'm going to go down to my graphic display options, right? The second button in, graphic display options. And I want to turn on shadows and my smooth lines. That looks pretty good, and hit OK. So now we're getting a nice shadow on all the rooms, assuming that the roof is removed. Sometimes this is nice, just sort of see the, kind of helps you sort of see the geometry of the spaces and gives it a little depth. That looks pretty good. Now, one thing I'll just show you, but I don't want to do this, is I'm going to go to the first button down in our little visual display toolbar, and I'm going to click that detail level one, and I'm just going to click Fine. When you click it on Fine, it's showing all the layers that make up that wall and all the construction of that wall. Sometimes that's useful. I think in this case, it makes it look a little too busy and sort of competes with our line weights. So I'm going to put this view back on coarse. Now that looks pretty nice right there. This looks like a great floor plan. One other thing I'm going to add is my name to this. So I'm going to go up to Annotate, Text, Text. So I'm going to click Text here. And I'm just going to make a little text box down here. I'm going to hold with my left mouse button and make a little text box. And I'm going to call this my first name. I'll call it office floor plan. And I'll just click in space. Okay. That's essentially assignment 1. Now what I'm going to do here, in order to print this so that it's something that you can actually submit on Teams, I'm going to go File, Print, and for printer, I'm going to do Adobe PDF. Okay. And so have that set to Adobe PDF. For your print range right here, do visible portion of current window. So that's exactly what I'm seeing here. I want to print it to the visible portion of the current window. All right, we can hit preview right here. Let's see what we get. Okay, if you get something like this, just close that. That actually looks pretty good to me. It looks like it's printing on an 8.5 by 11 maybe. Maybe. I'm going to hit close here. I'm going to go in there again. File, print. Okay, Adobe PDF. Visible portion of current window. Let's go to setup under settings here. Okay, Adobe PDF, paper size letter. Why don't we try to do a 11 by 17? I want it to fit the page. Don't zoom or anything, just do fit to page. We want it to be in the center. That all looks good. And I'm just going to hit OK. And I'm going to hit OK again. Okay, now I have to log into Acrobat and log into my Adobe. That's why I got this. You probably won't get it, but maybe you will. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to hit OK or cancel. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and search for Acrobat on my machine. Okay, here it is. And it's either going to ask me to sign in or it's going to sign in over here. Let's see what we got. Looks like it's signed in for me. So now when I go back to Revit and go File, Print, Adobe PDF, visible portion of current window, setup, 11 by 17, landscape center, everything looks good, fit to page, OK. And I'll hit OK again. Patiently wait. Okay, it's asking me where I want to save this file. I'm just going to save it on my desktop for now. And I'll call this Kevin Kinney. Tech 2 Assignment 01 Office Floor Plan. That is very descriptive. You will not lose that file. So I'm going to put that right on my desktop. Right now it's going to live right where this file is saved to on my desktop. I hit save. Okay, and then this little thing's going to come up saying it's printing. Seems like it's taken a little longer than usual. Yours may have printed, but essentially this is what I'm going to have you submit onto the Teams page. So I am going to write up the assignment for you. It'll include the lectures. Everything will be in Assignment 1 content channel. And then once you print this floor plan, this is what you can submit for your homework assignment. And we'll review some of this on Tuesday as well if you're running into any issues. So hopefully yours prints and you should be good to go. I'll give this another 30 seconds. If it doesn't, I'm just going to stop this video, but you should be good to go for your assignment 1. All right, thanks for listening, and I will see you on Tuesday or whenever I see you next.